Well, hey folks, sticker board. We're out here in the shop. We're on the miller table a little bit. I just sucked up the well. Had a bunch of gold in there. Running that stuff there, but I'm gonna start on that highbanker build. Now there's my old homemade sluice box. It was made out of a piece of a truck toolbox. And what I got here is another piece of that truck toolbox. This is kind of the piece that would sit up over the edge of the box, and I bent it up a little bit. I started shaping it, I don't know, years ago. I never quite made a high banker out of it. Of course, we got a hole to fill in, but I kind of like rednecking stuff together, use what I got and make stuff work. I like doing that. But it's a start, so still got a bunch of figuring to do, and we'll get it all figured out and make something happen. Alright, that's the plan, man. Stick with me through the build and see what we come up with. Alright, good time. And here's the engine and pump that I'm hoping to feed that high banker with. I believe it'll be enough water. 1,860 gallons per hour. It's a home light. I'm not sure how many horse. I'm figuring horse and a half or so. Nothing incredible, but I finally got it running again. It's been sitting it hasn't ran in 5 or 6 years, and I fired it right up the first time, and then it just wanted to flood out a lot, so I tinkered with it a little bit, and we got her so she runs and it's pumping water. So that's the pumping motor that I plan on using on this high banker. Alright, should work. We'll see. Alright, let me bring you a little bit up to date on this homemade high banker. I explained before, this is also part of the truck toolbox. This is the part that would go up over the edge of the cab, but what I did was put these clasps on here, so now we can just clasp it right down. One on the other side. Hold it nice and tight right on there for us. That'll be good. So the next step, I got a couple things already made and cut out and stuff. This is my next step because this is the lowest in the box. I'm going to put this plate right in there. I got some more grinding to do in these corners and whatnot, but that plate will extend almost to the VDR, right on the VDR. And I might have to put a little piece of rubber or something in there, I don't know, to keep material going from back in there. But even if it does, we know that the whole hopper pulls right off there if we unclip it, so any material that gets under there, we can just pull the whole hopper off. And that's how we plan on cleaning this thing out anyway. We're going to have to disassemble it and dump it in the bucket. That's okay. It's a little bit of a hassle doing it that way, but at least we'll have a high banker. So let's get that part in there. I also have a plate that runs down through here to kick the material down in there, and I have some grizzly made up to go over top, and that'll kick right out these holes. So let me get a little bit more put together and I'll bring it back in. It's a lot of fun building this thing though, and we'll be able to use our sluice box, so it'll work out well. Alright, stay tuned. Alright, I got that plate all in there, all siliconed in, fastened in with some rivets. It's not the best job I could do, but what I'm working with, it is the best job I can do. So if I was fabricating from the beginning, it wouldn't be this redneck, but it is. Anyway, still got a gap under there. I'm not sure if we're going to do anything with that or leave it how it is. I might put a piece of rubber matting off here to help displace the flow a little bit and even it out. I got this plate in here, and you can see that it kind of angles right down to here. Let me get in this view so we can see the distance there. Here's the top of here. That's about level in, see? So that's throwing it down there a little bit lower. Maybe 1.5 inches lower and 2.5, 3 inch space there. So I think that's plenty of room. Then I got my grizzly up here. I'll get that in there, and then it seems like my camera zoomed way in, but it's not. Huh. Anyway, I'll put that in there because it takes a second or two, and then I'll bring it back in to show you it on there. Alright. Alright, and there it is with the grizzly all on there. I do still have to put a piece in there and fill that crack. This is from the edge, and then I bent it over. I should have cut it a little bit longer. I made this way back in the day, but I didn't, so once I put the side rails on here, it kind of spread it out a little bit. That's okay. We'll just put something over there to cover that and put some silicone in there. But my grizzly's here, and then I got these bolts holding the two together, so it won't go down too low. It touches that bottom plate. And how I hold this in here is just this bolt right here. I got a hole. I just slide it down over there. I kind of got to put it at an angle and get it over there, but I think it'll work. Let's look at the grizzly down here. See that? Plenty of space in between there and there. I think there's plenty of room for rocks to come out of there. There's probably 3 inches. If they're a little bigger, they'll get hung up in there. We'll still get plenty of water flow down through because of the punch plate up here. This is kind of going to act like a skid plate or a slick plate, and it's going to let fines through. It's not optimal, but I think it'll work. And just got to trim up these edges a little bit, but it kind of sits in there pretty good. I think it's going to work just marvelous. Got some siliconing to do around these edges of that plate, and some silicone in these edges. And then I got to get my spray bar in there. I have to put a hole. I don't have a hole saw that big, so I got to drill a whole bunch of little holes and get it cut out of there. But I'll get that kind of together how I think it's going to be, and then I'll bring it back and show you. Pretty cool. Having fun building this thing. I can't wait to run it. Alright, pretty cool. Alright, this is what I'm thinking for my spray bar. I don't have the little 1/2-inch pieces in here connecting it all, but just a bunch of T's, and then if I want to reduce it down, this hole here is smaller than that 1/2 inch, so I can put them on there. Then I can angle them however I want. You know, have one spray up and 2 spray down, or 1 down and 2 up. And you know, there's always other options I could do. I could put a shower head on there to spray it around or anything. I probably won't do that, but it was kind of an idea. And then my garden hose from the pump will hook right on there. The problem is that I don't have any way to hook the garden hose to this and the other end of the pump. I didn't buy 2 female ends for the garden hose, so I might have to put this on there, which I don't know if I'll have to valve it down to restrict the flow at all. But then I can put this on there, and I'll be able to screw my garden hose into the other end of it. So we'll see how that works. I probably should have also got a 90, so this is sitting down, so this isn't causing too much weight tipping the side of the box, but we'll see. I'm going to try to use it pretty soon, so the sooner I can get it done, the better. But that's what I'm thinking right there. If it doesn't work, we'll scrap it and start over. End cap. This will stick out the other end of the box and have a piece going through there. And you get the gist of it. Alright. I'm going to start working on getting that hole through there and getting this plumbing in. Pretty cool, man. This is what I'm thinking for the spray bar. Can turn those all independently. Before I glue them together, I'll figure out right where it needs to be so it can run optimally. Garden hose will screw right into here, and the garden hose screws on to here. So we're good to go there. Test run. Of course, I'm all froze up. There's no heat out here, and we had some pretty cold temperatures waiting for that to thaw out. I got the heater going, but that's quite a block of ice to thaw out. No permanent heat out here yet. Just cost a little too much to keep it all heated, so I'm not gonna. But anyway, there it is. Get those adjusted, see where they need to spray. That one looks like it'll spray up here. The other two maybe in here someplace. I don't know how. Maybe it'll just trickle out of there. Maybe this ain't even gonna work. I'll have to neck them way down, and this setup won't even work. But we're still gonna build her and find out later on, right? All right. Well, there it was, all running and everything. I like it. Couple things I gotta do. I'm gonna let it dry out now and do some siliconing in there. I had to put some brackets on there. When I first made this, I should have left the bottom in. For some reason, I didn't. I should have. So I put a bottom in there, and there wasn't nothing to attach to, so I had to put a couple brackets. But anyway, I adjust that pipe a little bit. I'm not sure about if it's spraying good or not. It's gonna wash rocks, that's for sure, but maybe not as many as it could. Maybe the center one could have a T on it, sticking out a little further or something. I don't know, but I don't really have a T right now. Not sure if this matting is gonna work. We'll give it a little more elevation, but not too much to try to get the material off there. We'll see. It should. If we get it set up right, it should work. That pump is just enough for it though. So, and let me show you the legs. Simple idea. I actually saw this leg idea on YouTube, and I should have went with some square brackets and square tubing, but I didn't. I just did this, some conduit splices and a wing nut, and I just riveted it right on there, all four corners. I'll end up changing those out. I did try the legs. They're a little wobbly until you get it spread out right, and then it sits pretty good. So, all right. Well, there you have it. That's one little build. Now, get all those little last touches done, and no parking right there at any time. We'll get all those little things done, the silicone and stuff, and get ready to go pretty soon. All right. Fun. Okay, folks, I got a huge mess to clean up now. I got tools all over the place, rivets all over the floor. Big mess to clean up, but that was a fun little build, wasn't it? Kind of redneck together a highbanker out of pieces we had, and we bought as little as possible. Made it all work. I like doing that. Glad you stopped in and stuck around, and if you stayed till the end, I appreciate it. Hit that like if you liked it. If you don't, then don't. I wouldn't. Subscribe if you haven't. It doesn't cost anything. And I'll see you next time. Let's go try that highbanker out sometime, should we? Sounds like a plan to me. Until then, have fun. As always, having fun was what it's all about.